The following segments are pre-recorded and sponsored by Longworth Productions.
A bed and a book on Triad Today. Hello everyone, I'm Jim Longworth and welcome to another edition of Triad Today, coming to you from the Kernersville Auto Museum. We'll tell you more about the museum. It's free to come here on weekends. I hope you'll do it. We'll tell you more later. We have a lot in store for you, lots of great topics and important topics to cover in this half hour, and we're going to start with one that we've never approached before. It has something to do with giving beds and other things to families. We're going to start out with two very special guests. On my immediate right, Annalisa Wall is founder and CEO of A Bed and a Book. She'll tell us about that in just a moment. And of course, our good buddy Atticus Simpson, who's executive director of the Triad Foundation and Government Affairs for Triad Federal Credit Union. Good to see both of you.
Good to be here.
Atticus, let me start with you. What's going on with the Triad Foundation since we last spoke? Just bring me up to date.
Yeah, lots of good things. We continue to support organizations in the communities that we serve, and we're trying to be a connector between the community and brighter tomorrow through charitable giving. And one of the things that we're really excited about so far this year, we supported about 30 organizations and schools to address some community needs. And we're really excited about sending about 20 students off to college this fall for their first time.
Wow.
First time at college, and they're going off to school with a foundation scholarship. So we're excited about that.
Somebody was asking me one day when they saw you on the show and said, well, yeah, but now how do they decide? Are there certain focus areas where the giving is going to occur?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a pretty in-depth process that we go through, and we do have focus areas that we like to give for. And so a lot of those, there are three of them. One is financial wellness, of course, being affiliated with Triad Federal Credit Union. We also do things around workforce education. And then also social mobility. And if you think about social mobility, those are organizations that are providing really basic needs that help people provide a little bit of stability in their life so they can move forward.
Absolutely. And of course, one of the beneficiaries is the organization we're going to talk about right now. Annalisa, tell me what about Bed and a Book? What's it all about? What's the mission?
Thank you, Jim. A Bed and a Book is a nonprofit that provides brand new twin-size beds and story time books for children to read in their new bed before they go to sleep. Now,
when, I'm going to a double question here. When and why did you create this?
So it started with 3 children who were sleeping on the floor, 3 children that didn't have a bed of their own. And that first delivery day, going into the home and giving the children the beds really just lit a fire in me like I've never had before. Seeing children excited over such a basic need was unbelievable. Well,
now, how do you decide which families to help? Because there's so many people that need so many things in our communities. Now, I say communities, plural. How do you decide that?
So we work with referring agencies in the community. I think it's around 60 plus now that we have. So anywhere from, transitioning from homelessness to the fire departments when they go on calls, medical calls, and they see the room of the children is empty. Those sort of affiliates help us identify the children.
Let me just, instead of me bragging on Atticus and Todd and the guys over at True Lion, how important is support that your organization gets from folks like True Light?
Well, it's the only way we're able to do what we do, honestly. With True Light in particular, not only do they support monetarily because we have so many children on a waiting list and the beds are not cheap. That's why so many children are sleeping on the floor.
Right.
But they also come out with their teams and help us deliver the beds in the homes of the children.
That's something.
It's wonderful.
Y'all have some great volunteers.
Yes, we
do that. Annalisa, before time runs out, let me ask you a personal question since you and I have just met. What gratification do you get from the work that you're doing?
Being a mother myself, I can imagine my own children not having a safe place to sleep at night. So just knowing that I'm out here able to make sure that no child feels unremembered, no child has to go to bed and sleep on the floor. It's something you'll never forget.
And it says A Bed and a Book, so I guess there's a book that goes, some books too.
That is correct.
Up on screen, A Bed and a Book.com is the website, and I really urge you to check this out for a couple of reasons. One, for information, but also because we hope you will donate to the organization, the agency. And Atticus, of course, we want to put up trueliant.org/foundation. Same kind of thing. If you'd like to make donations and learn more about how the money is given out, that kind of thing, please go to that. To Annalisa and Atticus, thanks for both of you for what you're doing.
Thank you very
you.
much.
We'll be right back after this.
North Carolina's economy is growing, bringing new businesses and opportunities. The need for electricity is growing too. At Duke Energy, we're meeting the challenge, providing even more electricity that's cleaner, reliable, and that stays affordable. We're getting out of coal and reinvesting in our communities with a diverse, balanced mix of energy sources and making targeted upgrades to the grid so that North Carolina can thrive in a smarter energy future.
Spartans are the teachers, artists, nurses, scientists, and leaders who build our communities.
Back now on Triad Today, and a familiar face is sitting next to me, the Honorable Sheriff Danny Rogers, Sheriff of Guilford County. Good to see you again, sir.
Good to see you as well.
I want to talk about something kind of serious with you. And you emailed me one day, I think it was you or Eileen did, about the detention center. And people know that some great folks work at the detention center and have a hard job. But let's focus in on mental health within the detention center. How are you guys addressing that situation?
We try to make sure that we have the professionals on hand to help those that are incarcerated or residents there, as well as those that are employed there.
Right.
You know,
What kind of resources do you provide with inmates or residents who might have be struggling with some kind of mental health issue? What kind of resources do you provide them?
Well, with our in-house medical facility personnel people we have, they help us out with that. We have the mental health providers as well. Dr. Ellison and Dr. Sobin has been really good working with us with talking with the residents, as well as making sure that our in-house providers provide the necessary help that we need.
And that's pretty readily accessible then. I'm not putting words in your mouth, and I just want to understand when people talk about it, it's a healthcare issue, and so they can have access to this kind of help whenever they need it.
That's true. We not only do we provide it from the inside, we also want to make sure that they're prepared for when they exit out of the residence centers or the detention homes.
Right.
Centers. One of the things that we make sure we put in place is the MAT program, which is a medical assistant treatment that we have, that when people exit the facilities, they're able to go and continue with the medication, continue to see therapists, or continue to see.
So there's some kind of a continuum of care there, even when they're released, which I think is great. Now, you wrote me the other day about something called the Crisis Intervention Team, and how officers are trained to intervene or whatever. Help me out on that. What is that about? So
all of the detention officers are trained to understand how to recognize crises are going into emotion, or try to find out what's going on with individuals by talking with them. Body language, eating habits, even the simple things, restrooms, all this kind of stuff. They're able to recognize what's going on with people to see if they need to get them help immediately, or if it's something they can talk them through.
That's important that you're given that kind of training, because no matter how good an officer or deputy you are coming out of an academy or something like that, you're not a doctor, and you need somebody to help you work through these things to understand how to notice these conditions. Have you seen any improvements overall in mental health of inmates and residents, both while they're there and as they leave?
We've seen a tremendous help turnover, where people are talking more about their issues versus acting out trying to commit suicide or stuff like that.
Or being violent or whatever. So you're giving them an outlet to try to work through these things.
Yes.
Well, I'm glad you're seeing improvement. Speaking of improvement, let me put you on the spot. Are there any areas of that, of helping with mental health issues or resources that you would like to see improved as we go forward?
Sure. More stakeholders engaged, more of the community helping us out. When I say that, being able to help put things in place where we can provide more personnel or more facilities,
Right.
or we need the mental health facilities. We really do.
Yeah, and that's going to take some budget.
It'll take a lot of budget. Not some, it'll take a lot.
So we'll see you lobbying for that kind of thing along with other things.
We do.
Up on screen, you can go to guilfordcountync.gov/government/sheriffs-office, and I hope you will do that to check out and see what all's going on in the services and the programs and the successes of the Guilford County Sheriff's Department. The Honorable Sheriff Danny Rogers. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
All right, sir. We'll be right back after this. Hi, I'm Jim Longworth, reminding you that Triad Today also airs on GTN Spectrum Channel 13 and streams on WFMY Plus, free on Roku and Amazon Fire.
The world's brightest are Fulbrights, Goldwaters, McNairs, and Spartans. Prestigious doesn't have to be expensive. UNCG. Find your way here.
Back now on Triad Today, we're always glad we can spend a few minutes with the good folks at Alamance Community College, and particularly on this segment because this young lady has been absent from the show. I guess she just, I don't know what the deal is, but she just wouldn't come. No, she was here 3 years ago, and we're so glad to welcome her back. Ashley Lewis is a lead instructor for computer-aided drafting at Alamance Community College. Good to have you back.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Now, speaking of your having not been here for several years, let's go over this because there are a lot of folks maybe that missed that segment. So remind us again what CAD is all about.
Sure. So CAD stands for computer-aided drafting or computer-aided design. It's kind of a unique hybrid between precision and creativity. So our job is really to teach students how to use the computers and the software that we teach to be more efficient by creating drawings more accurately and expeditiously.
Is there a lot of demand for people to use CAD? Do you get a sense from, because I know you keep up with area industries and what their demands are. What about this?
Absolutely. So the great thing about design and CAD in general is that it really spans so many different fields. So architecture, construction, manufacturing, engineering, anything that we interact with has been created or designed by someone. So the softwares that we teach really empower those students to have a multitude of different opportunities.
We've had folks on the show before that will reference something called industrial certification and why it's important in certain economic development circles. Mm-hmm. Is this something that your students can obtain after learning about CAD?
Absolutely. The great thing is the three softwares that we teach, AutoCAD, Revit, and SolidWorks, offer a lot of different certification options. SolidWorks offers the most, with 20 being available to students for free, which is a huge advantage.
That's great. Now, one other thing I want to focus on here for a minute or so is that years ago, as was the case in many industries, drafting jobs went mainly to men. And you, of course, have been working to change that in your way and have done so successfully. What opportunities exist these days for women in design?
So as companies are working to diversify and really incorporate those equity and inclusion values, there really are a lot of opportunities in general. Students just have to have the gumption to go for it and not see their gender as a roadblock.
Right.
And that's our job, is to encourage them to not be dissuaded by that.
Yeah. And now I'm going to circle back sort of to the thing about jobs being in demand. Mm-hmm. And let me ask this a different way, which is, can your graduates, after learning about CAD and other things, are they suited to go right to the workforce? Are they ready to go from day one? And or can they go right to a university?
Absolutely. So they could go directly into the workforce and have a really rewarding career forever. Or they could transfer to a university, and we have articulation agreements with UNC Charlotte, ECU, NC-A&T, and a number of other universities.
Right. Well, I don't know if I've ever asked you this before when you were here some years ago, but just from a personal standpoint, what kind of gratification do you get from your job?
I love it. It's so rewarding, honestly. So I came from the industry where it's rewarding to be a designer and to be able to see something tangible that came from just an idea. But to be able to work with students and to empower them to do that same thing, because their wheels are turning always in this field. They always have something that they're thinking up. So to be able to create that and then actually see something that comes to life is really wonderful.
What led you to have an interest in this kind of field? Was it something, were you a little girl and a relative said something or showed you something about design, or how did you come about it?
Absolutely. So I grew up in a family of contractors that traveled down the East Coast from Michigan. So I grew up in construction, and my dad was my best friend. I was a shadow, so I followed him everywhere on all of his jobs, and architecture became a big passion of mine.
Wow, that's kind of neat.
Thank you.
Up on screen, alamantcc.edu. You can go to that general website, alamantcc.edu, and just type in CAD in the search bar, and that will give you more information about what Ashley's doing with the program. Now, can people sign up for this year-round, or is there a certain time you can or cannot?
Absolutely. We'd love to have you year-round.
Anytime,
Absolutely.
year-round. All right. All right, Ashley, thanks. Don't let it be another 3 years.
That's right. Thank you.
Thank you, dear. We'll be right back after this.
Now boarding zone 3.
Back now on Triad Today. Always glad we can spend a few minutes talking about High Point Theater and what's going on over there, and the man that knows all about that, although he's going to be cryptic about his answers today because he's not going to reveal much, and we'll tell you why in just a second. Dr. Dan Bernard, Director of High Point Theater. Good to see you again, sir.
It's nice to see you, Jim. Thank you.
All right, let's get to this. First of all, before we get to the suspense of what I was mentioning, when does the new season start?
September 18.
September 18th. Okay, so we got some time there.
Yes.
Now, I know we can't reveal the slate of shows yet. You're keeping that close to the vest. But you told me in an email, he said, what we'll do is I'll ask you some categories. It's like a game show. I'll ask you some categories, and you'll sort of give some hints.
I will give you enough hints to guess some of them flat out.
And some of them.
But the whole season will reveal June 11th, so it's coming up.
Okay, so let's start with country music.
So we have a country act. This act was the very first country group to have a #1 hit single in their debut album.
Wow.
So that alone, you could maybe Google who that is.
All right.
Very big in the 90s. They had some big hits.
All right. Now, for people that like rhythm and blues, what kind of hints do you want to give me on R&B?
A couple of very, very nice R&B singers. One is our headliner, September 18, that you would have seen in the Super Bowl pregame show this year.
Wow.
So very, very current. And then the other one this is the perfect location for the other one because in addition to being a Nashville, she calls herself a jazz soul diva, but she also restores classic cars.
How about that?
Who knew?
How about that? All right, let's move to jazz itself.
Couple of good jazz artists. The #1 clarinetist, jazz clarinetist for like the last 15 years is on our season. And then a keyboard prodigy, plays both piano and organ, sometimes at the same time.
Wow.
Was when Stevie Wonder was inducted into the Apollo Theater Hall of Fame, he played as a child at 10 years old for that.
Oh, my.
And then at 17, he was featured in a 60 Minutes article. He's only like 21, 22 now.
This is frustrating. You're giving me all these clues, and I want to know. All right, for Latin music.
That's enough. You could Google that. You could figure that out if you were really shrewd.
For Latin music.
There's a couple of good Latin ones. One billed as a Texican rock and roll. That is how they bill themselves. And that, I actually tested that one. If you Google that phrase, you can figure that one out.
Okay.
The other one is a flamenco group, the legit flamenco group from Spain. And if you come early, you can buy a paella dinner beforehand.
Wow.
And get the whole immersive Latin Spain experience.
Now, what about for people that long for Ireland? What about Celtic?
We got a Celtic show, traditional Celtic Christmas show with traditional Celtic music and dancers, and then they do. I guess it's very common in Ireland to have these sort of traditional Irish Christmas shows, and it leaves you just in a great frame of mind when you're done with it.
And people just remember, as they said in the movie that time, it's not Celtic. Or you might think you're buying tickets to go see the Boston Garden. But anyway.
I used to wonder why it was the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, that's right. How come it's not the Boston Celtics? And finally, comedy or magic? Any of that, any kind of hints there?
So this is combined. This artist has a standing Vegas gig. Is the only person to ever win Best Comedian, Best Magician, and Best Showman in the Las Vegas Awards. So all combined in one.
That's a major
cool
award
show
for people. Yeah.
In Vegas, the king of all show places.
Right. As we wrap up, before I put something on screen, let me ask you about tickets. Now, you said you're going to reveal the names of these in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Is that when tickets will start to go on sale?
So season tickets will go on sale that day, June 11. And then on July 1st, you can buy any 3-show combination, any that you wish, and get 15% off, which is pretty good discount.
That's a great deal. Up on screen, highpointtheater.com. There's 2 T's in here, highpointtheater.com. And tickets, you can call 887-3001. Don't get caught up in some of these ticket scams for the sure deal. Call 887-3001. Dr. Dan Bernard, you have kept us in suspense for 5 minutes. Shame on you, but thanks for, I don't know what I'm thanking you for. I'm still mad.
Keep checking our website.
Angry.
It all will be revealed soon.
All right, sir. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks for everything.
All right.
We'll be right back after this. Hi, I'm Jim Longworth, reminding you to catch my column Longworth at Large and Yes Weekly every week. It's available throughout the Triad, or you can go online, yesweekly.com. Back now on Triad Today, just about time for the roundtable, but a quick shout out to the good folks here at the Kernersville Auto Museum. It's a beautiful place. The website's up on screen. They're open on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. You can have your meetings here. It's free to come in. Please do that. All right, it's free to watch these folks right next to me. On my right, but always political left, Ogie Overman, the great broadcaster and journalist. Speaking of great broadcaster and journalists, Rosemary Plyman's here, and Keith Granberry rounds out the group. Let's get to it, guys and gals. State lawmakers are proposing the DMV pilot programs for Forsyth and Guilford, which would make it easier to renew your license. In Forsyth, you could opt to have DMV representatives come to your house and handle your renewal, but that service will cost you over $50, which is twice the $25 you would normally pay. Now, here's the question. Would you pay twice as much to have your license renewed in the comfort of your home? Ogie.
I absolutely would, rather than spend 5 hours of my day waiting in line to get my license renewed.
Absolutely.
I would play that in a heartbeat.
Rosemary.
No, not for me. You can make an appointment, and if you make an appointment, you literally walk in, walk out. Now, it's not easy to get an appointment. You have to be a little bit savvy on the internet, and you have to do it ahead of time.
Right.
But it's a big time saver.
Did you pay extra, Keith?
Well, you don't have to. I renew my license online.
Well, that's for the taxes and all that stuff.
Yeah, you
but
can't
you're talking about
always
actually getting the actual license.
I wouldn't want nobody coming to my house to renew my license. It's just too much right there. Let's stay out of my house.
We'll have to tell the state legislature to back off that proposal. All right, now, while President Trump has restored TikTok in general, here in North Carolina, state lawmakers now want to prohibit students and teachers from using TikTok during the school day and extracurricular activities. You okay with that, Ogie?
Well, during school hours I am, but not extracurricular activities. You got to draw the line somewhere. That's kind of ridiculous.
They don't want
Football
students.
Game, you can't tell them they can't do their TikTok
Right.
at a game.
Rosemary?
Yeah, I'm in agreement, but I would even go further and say we don't need social media during the school day at all. Any social media, Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, any of that.
Keith, what do you think?
I'm going to kind of disagree with both of them. I think you're going to have to start incorporating social media into your teaching methods so that the kids can learn better, because they learn a lot from TikTok. So if you can incorporate that in your teaching
in the
methods,
curriculum,
that
that's
may be
interesting.
more
That's
effective.
interesting. As long as it's not, Pornhub 101.
Yeah, you got to talk to Ogie about that.
I just heard about it. A Northeastern University student is demanding a refund on her tuition fees because she caught her professor using ChatGPT to create his lecture notes. even though he did not allow his own students to use that same technology. Does she deserve a refund, number one? And number two, should students and teachers on all levels be barred from using any form of artificial intelligence? Ogie.
That really scares me, Jim. It ought to be cheat GPT. I mean, that is completely cheating to me, but it's coming.
Is she going to get a refund? You think
I don't know what. I don't think she should get a refund.
No.
The teacher should be fired, though. Yeah.
I don't think she should get a refund. And I mean, I'm going to kind of go with Keith a little bit on what he said last time, because I think it's not, we can't put the toothpaste back in the bottle, right? We need to start using AI and teaching how to use it the right way.
Is she going to get a refund, Keith? And
no, she's not going to get a refund. Teachers been cheating for a long time. No, just kidding. But I don't think she's going to get a refund at all. No.
All right.
No.
Earlier this month, a teenage boy, this is a tragic thing, fell 21 feet out of the stands at a Pittsburgh Pirates baseball game, and he's still alive and trying to recover from multiple injuries. It turns out that he was drunk. He was underage. An adult gave him 2 cans of beer and the adult has been charged with providing alcohol to a minor. Here's the question. Should beer be banned from all sports venues, including college and pro stadiums? Ogie.
Oh, Lord, no. I mean, that's absurd. That will never happen in a million years in the U.S. of A.
You don't think so?
Not going to happen.
Rosemary.
Yeah, talk about the toothpaste being out of the tube.
Yeah,
I mean, that one has already happened. But, you know, if we just follow the rules, I mean, follow the law, right? Like the parent or whoever gave the beer to this kid, that's where we draw the line.
But if you don't have any beer there, you can't violate it, Keith.
That's not going to happen with the amount of money that Anheuser-Busch and all these other beer companies put into sports. It's just not, it's impossible.
All right, every year it seems like local and state officials argue over the parameters of the public school calendar. They're doing it this year again. Some want a longer school year, others want it shorter. Some want it to be the same in every county in the state. If it were up to you guys, what date would you start school and what date would you end the school year? Ogie.
Well, very simply, they should end it at the end of May and begin it at the 1st of September.
All right,
very
Mom,
simple.
you got children. What do you
I'd
think?
be with that. However, I do really like what they're doing in Wake County, where they have the staggered the staggered year, and as long as you can keep your family on the same schedule, then you can vacation at different times when it be off times.
Key.
I think it needs to start again. I'm gonna go with Ogie after Labor Day, ending in May.
At the end of May. Okay. Finally, a resort in South Carolina has scheduled a clothing optional 5K race to take place next month, and already they have 200 runners who've signed up as of yesterday. Guys and gals, have you ever run in a clothing optional race, and would you ever do so? Ogie Overman.
Where exactly in South Carolina was this resort? Did it say where it was?
No, I think it's somewhere nearby.
I would be a spectator at this stage of the game, and I wouldn't run in
Rosemary.
No, I don't even want to see it. No.
You want to see it or be? Keith, would you run in a clothing optional 5K race?
No, but why is it always the people that you don't want to see that always want to run naked? You know what I'm saying?
You are really shallow. You're really shallow. All right, that's all that we bear all here. That's all the time we have. Oh, except for this. Last week, true story. Last week, morning anchor woman in New York TV station went into labor on the air. Talk about delivering the news.
Oh, my.
For all of us here on Triad Today, I'm Jim Longworth. We'll see you next week.